use science for what it's meant to be and keep it and give it its epistemological weight, its value that it deserves. But we don't need to restrict ourselves to it. Is that rational to you? Okay, khalas, alhamdulillah. So then, what possible other routes of knowledge could we have if it's not only now restricted to science?
700 AD.
What do you mean the 700 AD? Oh yeah, 700 AD. Yeah,
prophetic revelation.
Yes.
From the divine revelation from the one who created us. You see?
I find it interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why the Quran convinces people because of.
I'm on camera now.
No, it's educational only. It's only educational. Yeah.
One of the reasons why the Quran convinces the mind, the agnostic mind, and so on, because of the evidence it provides. It just simply doesn't say believe and that's it. It provides the mechanism to believe at the same time through evidence and support.
Is there evidence? Can we see evidence that Muhammad split the moon in half?
You and I know we haven't. But that's not the evidence the Quran is giving us now here. Because some evidence are time bound, the people who witnessed it, people who witnessed the splitting of the sea, raising of the dead and so on, for them it was an evidence against it. They will have nothing in the day of judgment because that's a hujjah. It means a proof established against them if they disbelieve, because they could not explain any other way.
I understand that.
For us, Quran provides loads more perpetual, universal evidence which is within our reach, rather than evidence which was time-bound historically at the time.
Tell me about some of these evidences that are
Exactly. The Quran says if this book wasn't from God, you should be able to imitate it, either with the whole book of it, 10 chapters of it, or even a single chapter. The Quran even challenges and gives this falsification test, that if it was from God, there's no way you can imitate it. But if it wasn't, you should be able to. And Quran doesn't just stop there. It says, like, if you really think it's not from God, you can't do it yourself, then go and seek helpers and supporters if you need to besides God.
I'm talking about.
So why is it that 1444 years or so has gone? People still are unable to meet this challenge of imitating.
What do you mean imitate?
Bringing something like the Quran. The Quran is an Arabic language, on its own linguistic genre and its own stylistics. Yet this is different from ordinary Arabic speech. It is different from the speech of the pre-Islamic poets. It is different from the speech of the soothsayers. It is different from the speech of the Quran. So the Quran is on a linguistic genre absolutely unique in its meters, rhymes and stylistics. Of course, the content goes with it, with eloquence. If it was something, a human speech made up from one human being or a collection of a human being, you should be able to imitate it. If I ask now ChatGPT, compose me a Shakespeare sonnet, it will do that straight away in 30 seconds. And someone who's a Shakespearean scholar will say, oh yeah, it's exactly with this criteria. These syllables and so on and so forth, they match. But if you ask ChatGPT, nicely enough, imitate the Quran, it would not be able to. I've got a whole more than 1 hour video on this, trying to help him out, or it out, to make and imitate the Quran, and eventually he had to agree that we cannot, because of the nature of the Quran and its stylistics.
It's very specific, but could you not say the same thing about the Bible? And if not, tell me why.
The Bible doesn't even challenge anyone because it's human speech, human writings, human authorships, and you can compose something like the Bible. Like, have you seen, for example, the writings of the Church of Latter-day Saints, Book of Mormon? It sounds very much like the KJV. Very similar, right? So, but the Quran in Arabic language, which is the original language, nothing can be imitated. So one of the most powerful evidence of Islam being true, Prophet Muhammad being true prophet, Quran being the divine revelation from Allah, is this inimitability challenge of the Quran. It's called tahaddi in Arabic, linguistic inimitability challenge of the Quran. People have been trying for the last 1400 years, and all they are now agreeing that, okay, even the scholars are saying, okay,
non-Muslim scholars as well.
Why is it so difficult? Sometimes we ask the Orientalist scholars, why don't you attempt to try it? They don't even go near it because they know they can't.
1400 years is a tiny speck amount of time. We should give it millions, really.
Who were the best people to imitate the challenge of the Quran? The people who at that time were the best in their language. The Arab poets during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, contemporary people who were masters and experts in the language, who would live and die poetry, hang the best poem in the wall of the Kaaba, the Mu'allaqat, they were the best to meet the challenge. And they're the ones who conceded. And they said, لَيْسَ هَذَا كَلَامُ الْبَشَرِ. This is not the speech of a human being. They're the ones who said this was magic, not the speech of a human being. So you don't need to give millions of years, because more time you go, the less and less you will be proficient in that language. People who were there living and eating, dying that language, they declared themselves, it is impossible to meet it. And that's why people became Muslim. Some people even fainted and died hearing the Quran because of the power of the Quran, the command of the power. فَاصْدَعْ بِمَا تُؤْمَرْ. We have reports like this. The Bedouin heard, collapsed, fainted, and he died. Suyuti mentions this. We don't appreciate this because we are reading translation of the Quran, or we're reading the Quran not how the Quran was in the milieu, in the social historical context, how it was. This challenge is only so easy that you only need to produce 3 lines in a particular style of a surah. Surah, for example, either Surah Al-Kawthar. That, because every surah, this is something that people don't appreciate and know. You miss this when you read translations. Every chapter of the Quran is unique in its style. No chapter is similar to the other. Every single chapter. Those Muslims listen to it. The rhymes, meters, the stylistic, the usloob, they're all different.
Even the story.
That's why the Quran says, bring a chapter like into it. Choose any chapter, because every chapter is unique. So if you are,
idolize this book?
we don't idolize it. We say this is the
like
speech
you do, which is
this is an evidence.
completely against your religion.
The Quran says this is a book. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. The month Ramadan is in which God revealed the Quran as a guidance unto mankind and a proof of that guidance. Or a proof of that guidance. So we don't idolize the Quran, we are sharing the Quran with you, which not only is a guidance from our God to how to live our life and how to understand why we are here, the purpose of our life, and to fulfill that purpose. At the same time, it gives us the evidence of that guidance, so we can be content, we can be happy, we can be tranquil, we can be confident, we can be competent, and we can be sure that what we are following is something that is true. That is what the Quran is, making people to interact in that way. Quran doesn't simply say, oh, you disbelievers, you don't believe in God and Quran, go to hell. It says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. It says, do not the unbelievers see, have they not known that the heavens and the earth was joined together as one piece, as one unity, singularity. And then God parted it asunder, and then He made every living thing from water. And the Quran, the ayah finishes by this: would they then not believe? Look at how the approach of the Quran is. People who are agnostics and people who are non-believers. It addresses them, oh unbelievers, oh people who don't believe in Allah, in Islam, in Quran, in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Did you not see that? Were you not already aware? And then it gives you some information, and at the end it says, would you then not believe? So that means the Quran engages people's concern, addresses them, gives them evidence, and then asks, why are you not believing? Would you then not believe? What was the evidence provided in this chapter, in this particular ayah? 2 evidence, one from astrophysics and one from biology, on the same breath. Common origin of the universe, Earth, Sun, star, galaxies, everything was one singularity, and there was separation. That's what we know today, and that's what they will tell you today. Yes, we know, yes, but that wasn't common knowledge. That wasn't known, because we came to confirm knowledge of this through the redshift, through the universe's stars receding from each other, the expansion of the universe, Hubble's telescope, all that experiments, background radiation. And at the same breath, the Quran says every living thing from water. Look, the Quran was given to a prophet who was living in a desert, hardly any water to drink. And can I finish that statement, and then you can ask on that, just to highlight.
I feel like I'm being preached to.
Now I want to give you evidence so that you appreciate the evidence.
Okay, cool.
The Bedouins had hardly any water in the desert. They had hardly any rain to to collect water, or any pools and oasis to have water. And the Quran is saying every living thing from water. How did Prophet Muhammad go deep down in the deepest oceans and find out the living being? They need water for their life. Did he go down in a volcano underneath the deepest volcano?
He went down into the oceans and found living animals.
He didn't. How can he make a claim if he didn't? How did he go in space somewhere else?
What did he claim?
He says every living thing is from water. Without water, there's no life. That's why scientists will tell you, on Mars, if you want to think about this life, was there any sign of water? In any other planets you go to, was there signs of water? That's how we are. So Quran gives you two information, one from astrophysics and one from biology. Would you not then believe?
Interesting. How's your Ramadan?
Very good, thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
No, not yet.
No.
So you eat before sunrise and when the sun sets?
So our day starts in a day is sunrise to sunset. It changes during seasons because the lunar calendar. Sometimes now 7:38 today is when the sun is going to set, and we will break our fast, have iftar, and it will just go slightly more and more and more. Some other months, some other year, it might be 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it can be even earlier because of this case. So we see the whole variety of it. Do you know why we fast?
Let me ask you some questions. I just wanted to check how your Ramadan was, but
Good, thank you.
Ramadan is okay for me. So in terms of the moon splitting in two, don't you find it odd how there's no evidence that we can... I'm not an astrophysicist,
No.
so maybe there shouldn't be
I don't
any
find it odd.
evidence.
I don't find it odd. Now,
I don't know enough about the subject.
how long have we been speaking right now? Roughly half an hour?
Okay.
Did you see the moon? Something happening to the moon? You didn't even look at it. So how do you expect a temporary event that was done to show someone some evidence miracle, and then it was joined back together, that people will be looking at the moon and say, oh, we expect so many people around the world because none of you are looking at the moon.
I don't mean that. I mean...
No, what I'm saying is to expect evidence of a moon splitting is like asking you now, oh, why didn't you look at the moon? What happened to it? Because you're not concerned what's happening with the moon. So you don't expect people to look at the moon and observe whether it's split or not. What we are saying is, this is a miracle that happened. Allah gave the authority to Prophet Muhammad to split the moon. It split and it joined back together. It doesn't have to be leaving a mark with a crack. It can be exactly how it was to begin with. So you're saying like, oh, we can go to the moon now and we can find a crack. No, you don't have to, because Allah can bring it back together without any cracks remaining. This was an evidence for the people then and those who witnessed it. Do you know what was their reaction?
No.
Quran records it. They just simply said it's magic, because they could not explain any other way, because they could see that it's not rational. Because two options: you have to believe that this is a miracle and accept him as a prophet. If you don't want to accept that, you have to come up with some other theories. You say, oh, it's magic. You've mesmerized us through magic.
However, he was a normal man, correct?
Ordinary human being like was, but entrusted with the duty of revelation to convey the revelation to everyone else. So even though he ate and drank and so on, but God made him, molded him, developed him, programmed him to be the best of human beings in his character, in his attitude, in his morals, in his manners, so that he can be the role model. Uswatun Hasana.
So he's the best, but we can't idolize him.
Yes.
No, you cannot worship him.
Yes, and I got a no.
No.
Yeah, look, we
You
shouldn't
cannot idolize
idolize. Yeah, I
him.
agree.
No.
You should idolize him.
No, you shouldn't.
Oh, you should.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
cannot idolize him. Whoever worships Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to go to hell.
Yep, absolutely.
But we love him. We love him more than ourselves, more than our parents, more than everything else. This is the love we have of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Sounds like idolization if you say he's the best and you love him.
Then
We love
and our parents.
our Prophet more than ourselves. Do you know why? Because he's worthy of our love. If there is a creator, would you not want to love him?
Why more
We
than
love our
Moses?
creator because he's worthy of our love.
Why more than Moses or Jesus? Is it just because he is the last prophet that he is better?
God excels one prophet from the other. This is up to him. God says, تِلْكَ الرُّسُلُ فَضَّلْنَا بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. God raised and elevated or gave fadl, some blessings, one prophet of the other. For us, we say we make no distinction. We make no distinction between them.
However,
we make no distinction. God makes that distinction. So if God says Musa, Allah spoke to him directly, كَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا, we say yes, he is the one who spoke to God directly. And God, if God says Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah took him as Khalil, yeah, we say yes, he's been preferred even with this epithet Khalilullah, a friend of Allah. We don't make a distinction, God does. So there is no idealization. We give the description, the attributes, the role what Allah has given. We don't go beyond that. We don't say, even about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we cannot say about Allah something that He hasn't said about Himself. That's our limit. We cannot speak about Allah that He hasn't spoken about Himself.
100 descriptive words, right? 199.
The names that Allah has provided, we'll use them. We cannot use one of the names of Allah is Allah's energy.
Yeah.
Allah's next.
Can I ask one more question? I don't want to take up all the time.
No, take your time. We're more than willing to answer your question so that at least you can appreciate and come to Islam wholeheartedly.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Maybe I'm getting it,
Inshallah.
Muhammad, did he write the whole Quran?
No, he was unlettered. He could not read and write.
He was illiterate, I heard.
Yeah. So he could not write. So the Quran came to him through Angel Jibril, who revealed it in his heart.
And he told his companion.
And he recited. He memorized, he got people to memorize, and he got people to write down, those who could write down, and he got people to recite back to him so that he knows that they've written it correctly.
Is that considered a miracle, the fact that a normal man can memorize the entire Quran?
No, I mean, children memorize the Quran, yeah.
Memorizing text is not something miraculous on itself, but
I would say it's a miracle for a sheep farmer, whatever he was, or a trader, to sit down in the cave and memorize this thing from an angel and then relate to his companions perfectly.
But it wasn't all at once. Like,
man.
I think you think that it was all at once. No, it wasn't like the Quran wasn't just instilled at one point in time, all completed. It was over. It was piecemeal, 23-year period.
In a period of 23 years, Quran was revealed in the piecemeal, and then it was joined together because God says in the Quran, "Inna alayna jam'ahu wa Qur'ana." For us is the gathering and the recitations. So even though some parts of the Quran was revealed first, it's not the beginning of the Quran.
Yep.
The surah, the chapter that was revealed in the Quran, "Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq." It's not in the beginning, first chapter of the Quran.
Does it say why it would shuffle these orders? Does it give reasons?
Because God has revealed the Quran with the needs of the people at His time. Yeah, but the Quran also came for the people at all times.
You say His
so
people,
collectively,
His people, because it was just Muhammad alone, right?
He's not in the desert. He's with community. So he has people.
But those aren't his people.
Tribe.
Those are Jews and people.
No, there's people as well, the Qurayshi people.
His community,
Yeah.
and the broader community, the Jews and Christians from the Hijaz and elsewhere in Medina, broader whole world.
And Mecca was a hub.
We are his ummah. We are the followers. You can be part of his ummah.
I know that. So when you say it was for the needs and wants of the people at the time in that specific region, so are those the chosen people?
God sends revelation initially to the people and reforms them and brings them back as well. This happens to all communities. But the Quran, even though it started with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because it came to him as a messenger, as a prophet, and to his people, but his mission was not restricted to his people. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Allah says in the Quran that He has sent Prophet Muhammad
But as a mercy to mankind.
But as a mercy to the whole of mankind.
Mercy to the whole of mankind.
Yeah.
When, historically speaking, why did the Umayyad and the Abbasid dynasty caliphate spread so far and wide into territories that were before non-Muslims? How is that helpful?
Let's talk about Prophet Muhammad. That's how
But they caliphate.
When the Quran entered in the hearts of people, and the people were carrying this Quran in the hearts, they wanted to take it forward. So whether the Abbasid and the Umayyads and the Fatimid and whatever, they took the Quran forward to the people. They took the Quran to the people. So what does the Quran?
It depends.
Look, if you have a community who has become an obstacle to receive the revelation of the Quran,
Like this country.
the Quran at that time, Islam provided three options. Mansur, 10 minutes? Inshallah. 10 minutes. Yeah, we have to go in 10 minutes, inshallah. Three options. Let us come to your land and we tell the people, show the people, let the people know about Islam. No problem.
Okay.
Condition number one. No issues. If they accept it, that's fine. If they don't accept, then there are other conditions. Like, okay, do you want us to open up the land so that people can hear it? Because you have made an obstacle for the people to hear about the truth, about revelations, God's final revelation.
Yeah.
So we need to remove that obstacle.
Sounds forceful.
No, removing.
ability to hear the revelation itself.
the obstacle.
Yes, not forcing people to become Muslim.
Not
No, I hear,
forcing.
but
Yeah.
it's
Look, removing the obstacle, not forcing the people. Those obstacles, still not forcing on them become a Muslim and believe in the Quran. No, because they have become an obstacle to God's message to reach the people.
I get.
Look-
and
look-
it was
look
the
at
time
this.
before freedom of religion, which I guess we disagree with.
No, not even. No. We actually would disagree.
Shaking your head. Was it a time?
I think, let's go back to the point. What he explained, what's your explanation for the Quran? Do you think it's the word of God? Do you think Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of God? Then we can move on afterwards.
Me? I'm not Muslim, no.
No, I'm not saying you're not Muslim. Based upon what Brother Mansur mentioned, what do you think about it?
But we're on a whole different point of conversation.
So look,
I
Islam,
can answer afterwards.
Islam can spread and has spread politically
Yeah.
with might. No one denies that. But Islam spread as a political entity, with or without might. But Islam as a religion, as a theology, as a belief system, did not spread by force. Ever. Because you cannot force people to accept Islam. I cannot put a gun on your head and accept Islam because you can buy.
What do you mean?
Making Christians and Jews pay an additional rent.
No. Whoa. You mean wait. You mean the one that's less than the one we have to pay as Muslims? Yeah. You know jizya. Jizya. You have to pay.
Political tax they have to provide to be a citizen of the Islamic State, so that the Islamic State will
run.
guarantee their rights and their
Security.
Question:
Islamic
Do you
State
pay?
comes to
No.
you. It came to Algeria.
No. Question.
Therefore, your city,
If you are getting oppressed by your government, yeah? If you're getting oppressed by your government, and there's a government from outside that wants to free you from this oppression, wouldn't you see this as a good thing? Even if you don't recognize this oppression, yeah? Okay, from a Muslim perspective, we see that if a government objects to us preaching the message of Islam, which is the best interest for its people, without us forcing anything, but at least preaching it, then they are oppressing you, and it's upon us to free you from this oppression. Yeah, okay, that's fine. And this is, and it's an, and no, that's fine. No, but that's not the point, brother.
The Muslims in the land, when they can no longer sustain the protection of the Jews, they do not put.
they cannot take the jizya from them.
Yeah.
You know what the Jews said? We get persecuted by Christians. We want you to come.
I know they came.
Bro, yeah, exactly. So,
Thank
but
you for
that's not the only the point, bro. Just one second. Let me
Let
finish this jizya point, yeah? Bro, the point of jizya is what? How do governments function? Taxation, right? In the past, they didn't have income tax. You had, in the Islamic State, you had jizya for non-Muslims, and you had zakat. Zakat is higher. If anything, the discrimination is against Muslims, not against non-Muslims. Not just that. You and your mom and your sibling, or like the women in your family and the elderly, all get taxed. Under jizya, elderly, people who are not of military age, women do not get jizya. So not only is it a more beneficial system for you, it's also a more merciful system for you as a non-Muslim. And even you, as a military age person, could not pay jizya and just say that if the country goes to war, you have to go to war as well. That's the point. You're not a Muslim. You don't want to fight for the sake of Allah. Therefore, you don't want to be forced to this, and Islam gives you the option to pay out of it. So it's not discriminatory. It's actually in your favor.
That's very interesting, and I completely hear that. My comment about jizya was a small caveat. You raised an interesting point about how I would have to fight for the country,
Yeah.
for the Islamic Empire. But Islam has come as a force into my land. Say,
Yeah.
for example, Turkey.
Okay, how is
This Turkish man
I'll give you.
now
I'll
fight for
tell
the
you why.
Islamic
Okay, how about America? you know there's conscription in America at some points, so they have the draft, right? So what about the First Nations people that had to go through the draft? In the age of empire, no, I'm saying that in the age of empires, you either conquered other people or you got conquered. There's no neutrality, there's no Switzerland. You don't get to just sit there. So you either conquer or get conquered. We don't live in that right now, so we don't need to have. But in that time, Islam needed to preserve itself because there was other forces that were trying to eat it in the same way. So the difference is when other forces would come and conquer Islamic lands, they would burn, rape, pillage, destroy the lands, and suck all the resources and kill all the people. On the other hand, under Muslim empires, we've had many. No. I'm not saying that by necessity. I'm saying we've had plenty examples where Muslims and Christians and Jews lived not only in peace, but Islam actually provided plural legal system, something that the UK right now would laugh at if somebody tried that, to have Sharia courts here and to have Jewish tribunals and stuff. Exactly. What do you mean? That's intolerance. Where's the freedom of religion, brother? I want my divorce laws. I want my Islamic divorce laws as a Muslim man.
This country had constitution and uncodified rules and regulations.
Yeah, oppressive. What do you mean before? Let me tell you. No. But before or after, is it oppressive or not? Is the Islamic legal system tells you?
And bring your own laws.
When we come here, no, doesn't matter. What about British people who are Muslim? What about British people who had their whole ancestry who are British? What about them? Do they not get the right to live by their?
It's a secular country. If you want to live in a religious
it's not a secular country. It's a secular country in some ways.
You're not free. In reality,
Let's not talk about England. What I want to learn from you.
You didn't sign a social contract. You were coerced into it. You know that. You were coerced into a social. Yeah, I understand.
I want to learn from both of you.
Yes.
How is Islam spreading now? With force?
Exactly.
How is that? No. I mean, majoritively in a lovely, peaceful way, as the gentleman here.
Because there's no age of empires anymore.
Right. So that is what you need to understand. Why are people accepting Islam? Do you know in UK, talking about UK, the majority...
I'm a tough cookie to crack.
Majority of people becoming Muslims are educated women.
Every cookie cracks.
Yeah, eventually.
Three quarters, 75% of people becoming Muslims are women educated.
They're probably scared for their lives because this place is full of...
Why would you say that? No, but why would you say that? Why would British women be scared for their lives?
They're scared.
Because that's a whole different eco-climate of political and economics.
But I'm talking about British women.
Who knows why this country is going to
British women.
SHIT?
Why are British women accepting Islam?
The reasons I just told you.
Why?
They're afraid?
Probably. What evidence? What is probably business? I don't want to deal in this probability.
Do you agree that they are moving because they are scared on the streets?
No, according to Swansea University, they did a study. 60% of the movers are white women.
Yeah,
I accept that.
Yeah, that's right. So why are they accepting? If Islam, like for example,
For the reason I just said.
What is it?
You keep asking me the same question.
What is the reason?
Probably because they see the crackheads and degeneracy in the streets. But the reason for that is multifaceted and can be...
Yeah, the reason for that is that there's no system that's been able to provide the socio-economic benefits, the financial benefits, the material benefits that Islam provides. No. Don't you dare say, if we look at the Muslim majority countries, you're looking at... I was going to say, because, wallahi, let me tell you what, because I think that you're too smart, because you were too... Because you look... Because you look too smart to try to do a historical snapshot of 100 years and base Islam off of that, because you know for 1400 or 1300 years Islam was either the superpower in the world or one of the superpowers in the world, and Islam flourished. All of science flourished under Islam, not in your. So that's what I'm saying. So just because the last 100 years we're getting bodied because our resources are getting plundered and our lands are getting bombed and our people are getting defunct because of the education system is getting robbed. Yeah, that's fine. We could say that, but that's why Islam still spreads, because it has such potency and such truth to it that it transcends cultural boundaries. It transcends race.
Yet fully, personally, because I don't think they're that well read on the subject. That the Islamic Golden Age was fundamentally Islamic and not Arab.
Why did I say no? Whoa.
Which makes me
the reason.
me to believe that it wasn't the Islamic. It wasn't Islam is the reason.
Because we implemented Islamic.
Maybe I don't know.
No. I don't think that every person that did good under it's actually still proof for my point.
Let's get back to the point about the generosity of this country and why you think why women are turning to it.
Ask those women.
Exactly.
Yeah, ask them.
No.
You should do
So
that.
you should do it.
No, we all know the reason.
No,
No, we don't.
You don't. You don't.
No.
You don't. I do.
But you
You're
saying
plastic.
no to
You're preemptive. You're preemptive. No, bro. You're preemptively
British Empire,
doing this.
British Empire.
Yeah. So come on.
But it's not unique to Islam either.
It seems to be because people are. It's quite unique that. Okay, I'll tell you why. Islam has the worst marketing in the world of any ideology ever, probably in the last 100 years. Yeah, and yet it is the fastest growing religion in the world. That subhanallah, that alone should get you to think a little
Yeah,
bit.
because Islamophobia is on the rise.
Yeah.
Therefore, you should see Islam's coming down.
Religiosity is growing
Sorry.
regardless in Islam.
Sorry, repeat that.
Spirituality and
Yeah.
religiosity is
Right,
growing.
well, there's one reason.
That's not true. Maybe that's the case in the UK, but on the worldwide.
And it varies per religion as well, but it's not just unique to Islam that it's growing.
No, that's actually is unique. Pew, even Pew says that.
It's not. Rates of like interest in things like astrology and other spiritual beliefs, other religious beliefs,
That's yeah.
are growing amongst women.
Let's talk about the
It's-
safety of women.
No, but I didn't say only women. But we had a tangent about women. Yeah, in general.
Unless I've come in on the wrong point, what I
Yeah.
heard initially was you talking about the growth of Islam amongst women in
Yeah, no. Oh, that's not just the. So Islam in general is the fastest growing religion
But the
in the
point
world.
I was making.
Yes, in general. And not only that, spirituality is on the decline actually.
The point
And
I was
fact-
making
Let's
is
pull
the
this back.
reasons why women, educated women, are accepting Islam is not because by force, because through their education and intellectual querying,
Yes, sorry.
by observing, reading, studying, reflecting on Islam and the Quran, like the Prophet ﷺ. And they then accept.
What are the socio-economic factors going on that make people turn to religion?
Exactly.
For example, where are the highest rates of religiosity?
She's a fan.
In poor countries with lower rates of
Let's talk
education.
about UK
Where
women.
is that happening with Islam?
No.
In countries in Southeast Asia.
It doesn't matter. She's just a fan.
There's lower,
The question is-
there's lower economic security, there's political instability.
So
In
what?
UK.
So
In the UK.
and there's less education.
In the UK.
Scientific
In UK?
We're not talking about the
No, but you
I
have
am
very
talking about
growing
UK.
Muslim religious communities in all the developed
As
countries.
I pointed out,
Yeah.
it's not just Islam that is growing amongst women.
But that's not
That's the
true,
point.
bro. That
But
is
that's
not.
not the point
Look,
I am
okay,
discussing anyway.
I know.
Various,
My friend, let me help you out. because
Christianity's literally on the decline, bro.
I'm going to help you out.
I don't want to debate. I don't want
No. Can I
All of it.
help you? Okay.
Let him help you. Let me help. Okay, give us a second. Give us a second.
Catholics and
What's your name?
Ismail. Ismail.
You changed your name as well. Wow.
Ismail, what's your name? Oscar. Good to meet you.
So let's talk about safety of women in this country, shall we?
So what we were saying,
Why not?
Oscar,
Why not?
what we were
Can you
saying,
send your
women in this country, if you ask them,
Can you guarantee her safety of
Yeah, let's continue. Let's continue your convo. No, we're good for a bit.
go. What time is it? Now.
You need to go.
So we have to go and break our fast.
Oscar, we can continue
You're
this.
Muslim.
Yeah, what do you come
Wanna
on?
come with us?
You wanna come? We can continue. No, I'm being like, you wanna come and continue? Okay, let's go. He'll come.
Next Sunday, you here?
Inshallah, God willing, yeah?
You know what I'm saying? You wanna come join us?
Where?
Iftar. We can go to a restaurant right here. On Intro. Yeah, come with us, bro. We're not kidding. It's how we invite people. Come.
Break our fast. We can pray there.
That's, bro, don't worry.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it.
No, bro, seriously, come. Wallahi, come. Khalas, come. We'll continue no, it's a good combo. Let's continue it. Come on, let's go, come on.
You got nothing better to do, right?
Come on, let's go. No, we'll continue the combo, come. It's a good combo. Unfortunately, actually, I wish the combo was longer with you than the other two. I thought that there's just more, we're talking the same
On our
language.
way for iftar.
Yalla.
Mansur.
Yeah.
John, the conversation you can
Sorry?